Hi everybody, it's Mr. D, and these are the instructions for the acapella warm-up for my lesson called Keep Your Eyes on Me on Teacher Pay Teachers. This lesson is probably the most critical of many of the lessons that we teach when we help our students learn to follow us. I think very often teachers go and sit behind the piano when they're vocally warming up their children, and they play scales or arpeggios, and they sit behind there and they expect that that's going to warm their voices up, and it does. But it doesn't really work towards helping the students understand our cues. It doesn't really create the bond between our students that we need when we're standing in front of them. And I think a cappella warm-ups are really critical towards helping that happen. I use them probably 95% of the time. I don't go behind the piano. Today I'm going to just give instructions for maybe the first couple of days of an a cappella vocal warm-up, and then you can just let your brain run wild as time goes by in terms of how you can use it. But I think it's really a good way to connect with students. So on maybe the first day I teach this, I'm going to teach them how to breathe with me, what my cueing for breathing is. And so maybe they've done a physical warm-up, maybe they've done a mental warm-up like Follow Me, the one I've discussed in a previous video as a part of this lesson. And then we're all on the same page by this point. So I'll say, when I put my hands up, and you see me go, that's when you take in air, and when you see this, that's when you blow out air. And I really say it just like that, as though you were my class. And so I have them breathe through their mouths. I instruct that. You may prefer through the nose, but I've found that in terms of teaching this habit of breathing together, breathing through your mouth is a good thing, even though it dries out the throat a little bit. It's a good thing, and I think it's really critical to helping our students follow us. So I put my hands up, and I just look around the room, and I wait a really long time sometimes, just to make sure everybody's with me. And then we do it, and I make them hold it, and then I make them release it. And once I see that everybody's got that, and we're all together on the same page, I change the rhythm of it. And we get crazy with it. Sometimes I'll make them hold it for a really long time, but this is driving home the point of when to inhale and when to exhale so that we're all getting on the same page. And the next step that I would do is the hissing exercise. That's a very common breathing exercise. And what we're teaching in this is attacks and releases, but we're also working the breath. But that's a side benefit, really. And what I'm teaching in this moment, I would say, as though you're the children, when I give you the cue, you take your inhalation, you breathe, and when I give the finger, you go, and when I do this, you blow it out. And that's exactly how I teach it. So then we do a simple one, and they're going to want to come in early before that, and if you hear them, you stop, you say, no, 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 remember this is, and you make sure you teach it right the very first time, so that everybody's on the same page. Because some of those children in 5th and 6th graders, they'll start looking around, you know, and we want to help them learn that that's not what we do. So we inhale, and we short time the first time, and then we increase the amount of time with each hiss, maybe for the second and third time that we do the exercise on that day. And then we may, if they're doing really well, we may do something like this and wait a really long time before they attack, so that we know we have everyone. Now you know someone's going to come in early, and you're going to, you know, make a joke of it or laugh at it, and make sure that they're really understanding when to attack and when to release. That's what we're learning here. If kids continue to hiss, when you do that, you need to call them on it in, of course, a jovial, fun way, and help them understand that we release it then. They're learning attacks and they're learning releases, and they haven't even sung a note. The next step would be to sing a single pitch. I make them sing it back to me. I just pick a comfortable pitch. They sing it back. If it's out of tune, I correct it, whatever. Depending on how young they are, you could have that situation. And then I tell them, when I cue you, you're going to breathe in. When I do this, you're going to sing, and you're going to hold it as long as I'm there. And then when I do this, or if you want to do that like you did before, it doesn't matter, but I like to go right into the cues I would really use. I teach them that they must cut off at that point. So we do it. Sorry. And we make sure it's very clean. The first time you teach it, it's critical. And you'll have a child that during the note, look around and they'll hold it too long. You must correct it. You must help them see in those first few days how important it is to cut off with you, to start with you, to breathe with you. And once they've kind of got that concept, you make it last a bit longer. I do this almost every day as my first actual sound of the day, ongoing. It's a really great exercise to get everybody focused and with you. And the next thing, the final thing I would do with the students, and you may do this on a separate day, is to teach ascending major scale, assuming they've sung it before in your class and this is not the first time you've taught it, and a descending major scale. And I always use half notes. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And you see how I'm pulsing my hands? This is part of a technique I use in my sight singing. And they would do the same thing in a descending fashion. Now before they're allowed to do the scale, I always say you need to wait one measure and then you're going to sing and sign the scale. So we will go. Do, re, mi, fa, sol, la, ti, do. And this of course is much more advanced, but we want to make sure they attack after the first measure, that you're very clear in your instructions, that they're successful that first time, and at the end that they're holding it a bit longer than 2 counts, but they're watching you for the release. And the same thing on the descending scale. Be very, very clear with your instructions so that they can be successful. This, of course, is a bit more advanced exercise, but we do a number of other exercises to get more advanced things to work consonants. You can get as creative as you want to get. I think acapella warm-ups is a wonderful way to connect with your students and help them follow you and understand the importance of watching you. So hope it works for you.